Hi, I'm Borkaland. Glad to have you here. Welcome back. Like I mentioned before when I was building this thing, it wasn't really complete, it was just the absolute most basic version. And I've been working a little bit to do the improvements I said I would. I added a second platform, which you can see here. The upper platform is actually a little bit bigger because it can be up to 23 blocks from the middle block that contains the egg. I'm gonna do the lower platform too, and I also replaced the roof here, so it's no longer glass, I'm just using bottom slabs because glass right now for me is very precious and stone isn't, so why not just use stone? And I also changed the chutes where they drop down into just 3 blocks wide. And this arrangement with the grindstones, this is something I stole from Dembo's design, who probably has the most efficient zombified piglin farm out right now. When the zombified piglins try to get into this gap here, and both of those are full blocks like glass, two of them can try to get in there at the exact same time and both get stuck and they block this entrance, and we don't want that. And apparently just the slightly different hitbox of the grindstone makes them, well, resolves the conflict and they don't get stuck anymore. So that's why those are there. And currently the farm is disabled. I just removed the turtle egg because I am working on the collection system. And I'm actually just about to test it. And I decided to film that, just to have that documented. This is something I'm sure someone has invented this before. This isn't completely my idea. Or this is, I think, my idea, but the mechanics is not something that I have discovered. The mechanics I'm using is that I have 3 droppers here, each from a hopper line that comes from where the zombified piglins are getting killed. And each hopper line goes straight into the droppers here. And they are controlled by a clock. And let me add some items. Wait, this is the middle one. The middle one I'm going to add items to last. So I'm going to have 4 stone. Let's do 4 stone slabs and 4 arrows into the middle one. And as soon as anything enters the middle dropper, the clock should start and empty all the droppers at the same time. Let's see, yes. Now all the items are going into this cobweb in the middle. And the reason the cobweb is there is that it cancels all the sideways motion of the items. So when they finally drop out of the cobweb, with interesting visual bugs, by the way, but when they finally drop out of the cobweb, they will fall absolutely straight down with no sideways movement. And at the bottom here, right now I only have a hopper, nothing else. It's gonna be something completely different, but I'm just having the hopper here to test. And yes, 4 of each, perfect. Nothing got spread out. I've been testing this in creative, so I knew it would work. And in creative, I actually dropped an insane amount of items, and not a single item falls outside of this block. This is absolutely amazing. So now I'm gonna build a sorting and storage system around here. The reason why I want to build down here, it's because it's just more convenient. I don't have to build platforms to stand on to be able to build the things I need to build here. Now all we need is a storage system. Shouldn't be too hard. The storage system is done, and I've finished a few more improvements. The two platforms are as big as originally planned, and the zombified piglins are spawning quite fast. Although, what I originally planned might not have been correct. The zombified piglins that spawned on the blocks here would not run to the egg, so I had to remove those blocks. But there should have been the exact same problem on all the blocks on the edges. But they worked just fine. So I went to the wiki. On the page about turtle eggs, it says that eggs attract zombies at a taxicab distance of 23 blocks. And that's what I designed around. On the page about zombified piglins, though, it says 23 blocks away horizontally, which I guess means Euclidean distance, and that would explain what happened here. The farm right now is in automatic mode, and I can't really do a manual mode for it, so I don't have an XP farm once again, and that is because I need honey blocks, and I don't have any bees, any honey, so I can't do that yet. The hoppers pick up the drops. This comparator here detects that there is something happening, that turns on a clock. The free droppers, and yes, only one of them we check if it's full or if it contains anything, but that is sufficient because it's usually the middle one that is the fullest. But the three droppers, they shoot out the items into the cobweb like I described earlier. The cobweb stops all horizontal movement, and after a while the items just drop down straight into a completely bare bones minimalistic storage system. I had to add this cobweb here. I didn't think it would be necessary, or I didn't even know it would be necessary. I've actually had to go find a cave and find one more cobweb, because there is a string here that for some reason the spectator account can't see. But there is a string in front of this. Oh yes, it's there. It's barely visible, the string here. And the observer detects when an item falls through that string. The problem is, it seems that after that big fall, the items are moving too fast and they very often just miss the string. Or not very often, pretty much always. So I had to add this cobweb here to slow the items down again so that they could be detected. The observer detects that this has happened. We generate a pulse. We put that pulse into a pulse extender so it's quite a bit longer. And while the pulse is active, this enables this very simple clock. And this clock makes the piston push. I think it's like 3 or 4 pushes for every detection. And the reason for that is that when multiple items are falling, they can end up on top of the slime block. Oh, like the rotten flesh did right there. And so that's why we want to push a few times. And if the items would be falling continuously just all the time, this would never stop, so the clock would be going constantly. Anyway, the items get pushed here on this packed ice. Pew. There is another string here with an observer, and that one doesn't need a clock. That one just sees that there is an item flying past it, and it gets to that slime block that pushes it forward. The chest here is so that the items, when they were pushed by this piston here, they end up on the chest, and that makes them land just on the edge because the chest is not a full-size block. So the items just are a little bit on the edge of this ice, so when they get pushed over that, they can get picked up by the hoppers. The hoppers are just standard item sorters. I have currently set up this one to not sort anything. This one catches the gold nuggets, and this one gold ingots in case I have a manual mode working, which I currently don't. But once this is properly set up, all the rotten flesh and all the swords will just end up in this lava here and get destroyed. But in the beginning, when just trying to find errors in a farm, it's a bad idea to destroy stuff. Because I'm likely that I will drop something and like my gear will end up in lava. Don't want that. And there is lots of junk here. Yeah, like stuff has been falling down from my building. So might not be a good idea to destroy it. The problem right now, it should be much bigger. It's definitely, I will add more chests when I can. But no hoppers, because I don't have iron. Definitely need to solve that. This is becoming a thing, doesn't it? I say, I can't do thing because I don't have resources. And 5 minutes later, by the way, this is my resource farm. So, without further ado, by the way, here is my honey farm. I kinda just threw this together quickly one morning because I really need XP in my gold farm. And for that I did need honey blocks, and I have already made plenty of honey blocks, and the bees are quite productive. There's nothing very special about this design. The dispensers on top of the beehives, like we can see the beehives, well, if the bees weren't in the way. Maybe I should have waited for night to do this. Nah, we can do. There are beehives and bee nests here. I only collected two natural ones and made the rest of them. They have dispensers on top of them. This one has shears because I want the honeycomb, and the rest have bottles to just collect the honey. And I'm gonna say it again, this is becoming a problem. I don't really have that many bottles, so I didn't even populate the last 4, even though I have quite a few bees now. But I didn't populate the last 4 because I just don't have the bottles for it, and I don't want to come back here every 5 minutes to replace the bottles. But yeah, there is a comparator here reading out the output from how full the hives are. There is a redstone line here that is 5 blocks long, and that is so that when the signal reaches here, it only does it when the hive was full of honey. And this works both when dispensing shears or dispensing bottles. And then under the hives, I can't really see here, we have hoppers that are collecting everything into this chest. Nothing very special. The thing that I really like about this, I spent quite some time in creative to make it work. And I finally figured it out. The problem is when I wanted to breed the bees in the same area where I have the hives, so I wouldn't need to transport things and complicate everything. And the problem is that the baby bees, or the small bees, can escape through very, very small holes. Hey, I want to give you flowers, don't run away. And as you can see, this wall just barely stops the little bee from escaping. If I would actually feed it with the flower, let's do it. I can lose one bee. Run away because I ran out of flowers. Come on, little bee. Hello, little bee. Yes, I want to feed you. Just this one. They have a chance to escape, but they never escape when they grow naturally. And I think this is because when I'm holding the flower, the bee is pushing against this wall here and this glass here and has a chance. Oh! Did it escape? Yes. And it did escape. Oh, two heads. But other than this, I have never seen a small bee escape. So the gap is big enough for me to feed the bees, but not big enough for them to escape, and that is perfect. The thing here is just a very simple flower farm. We have a too high flower, which is standing on some farmland, and the farmland is being kept from turning back into dirt by this waterlogged stair that is behind it. We have a dispenser with bone meal, a very simple clock, and we can just spam it with bone meal and it generates tons of flowers. The reason why all this is built with yellow glass is because I had yellow glass when I was building the Hoglin farm and had still some left over, and I didn't want to smelt the little glass I had and recolor it to some other color that would make sense here, because I do not believe that the yellow actually makes sense. But I didn't want to use any other glass because, like I said, I am missing glass for bottles, and that is much more important now. I wish I had more glass. And we all know what's gonna happen in 5 minutes. So, now the gold farm has a manual mode again. I just flick this lever, that pushes in honey blocks on where the zombified piglins land, and honey blocks remove 80 or even 85, I don't actually remember, but a lot. They remove a lot of damage, so now they survive. They are no longer one-hit kills, which is a little bit annoying, but it's not a huge deal. And I'm not exactly sure if I should have the chests here or maybe move my killing space one block up. The chests here are just so that they wouldn't stick to the honey blocks, but aren't a full block, so I can move a little bit closer. I think I need to get a little bit closer, but maybe this is good enough. And like I said earlier when I was talking about if I should make the spawning platforms round, I'm not exactly sure if I should improve this and get even more spawns, because as you can see, the drops are already piling up here, and I haven't been using this for long at all, so it seems like free hoppers aren't really able to keep up. There is a way to, I think there is a way to double the performance of the item pickup system, and then I might actually improve the spawn rates, but they are definitely good enough. This thing is very productive. So that wasn't very unexpected, was it? I got 7 shulker boxes full of sand and some in my inventory. 4 of those, if my math is correct, will be just for the glass bottles required to fill all the dispensers. And if I wanted to have hoppers to load them automatically and then probably a minecart going on top of them, that would add up to 6 shulker boxes, I think, but I'm just gonna use the 4 and fill up the dispensers manually for now. And the 3 other shulker boxes will be for other projects, because glass is always necessary. I really wish that there was some automatic way of getting sand, but there isn't. Now I just need to get to smelting all this stuff. It would be nice to have a bigger smelter, but I definitely don't have iron for that. And no, iron is not gonna be one of these things where I will just suddenly conjure up a farm in half a day. I want to design my own iron farm. I have been using other people's designs in my previous world, but I would like to make my own. How hard could it be? Now, I'll just have to wait for all this to slowly smelt. That's it for this time. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!